Hello everyone, I'm Sidemal, and today we continue reading World and Economica. Um, so previously, uh, what was previously? Um, so Haru escaped from police, and then he was found by a woman from cafe and another girl, uh, and they mm, convince him to go to their home. Um, so besides that, we kind of find out what our main character not really a likable one. Um, he has definitely some creepy thoughts, but I mean, let's see how it's gonna be in the future. I actually find it interesting. Um, like see if he gonna change and became more likable character. Um, I like this trope if he done correctly. Like one thing what I'm thinking like Mushoku Tensei, Ranobe, I'm читал. Ой, I read long time ago. Like Rudy also don't really likable character, but he becomes better while story progressing. So let's see what will be about Haru. Well, Haru, not so unlikable, but he definitely have some creepy thoughts before. So let's see how it's gonna be in the future. But for now, let's just continue reading. So they are going to their home, which probably gonna be new home for Haru. Um, hmm, yeah. So let's continue. As Newton City was designed to cover everything, including people, water, and wealth, if there happened to be a problem with the city water circulation facilities, there was a fear that the low-lying Newton City could flood. Uh, there was a fear. Yeah. For what reason, there were apparently two additional layers of facilities for long-term water storage. So that water went from outer section to Green City, then from Green City to Newton City. While I didn't know the first thing about this, I did know what I was in a place with an incredibly fantastic atmosphere. Hmm. Do we learn before this about Green City? Um, I mean, as probably yes. I don't remember if we have full explanation, but as I understand, Newton City it's like a wealthy city with skyscrapers and so on. Other section and it's their characters now um, on not outside the crater, but on its sorry, forgetting words. It's I don't know slide. Um, yeah. So yeah, and I believe so. It's mean Green Cities should be probably will between outer section and the Newton City. But let's continue reading. Um, and that was why other towns generally forbid entry into these reservoirs. Um, it's because couples that get together tends to be drawn towards places like that. I nodded in agreement with this observation. Also, this area seem to be quite a low income neighborhood even by standards of the six outer section. Hmm. So outer sections divided by, well, they divided. So they're in six one. Interesting. And it was full of homes on the on the verge of collapsing, even here on the gravity weak moon. I actually wonder if there is a map of the city. I don't believe I'm seeing it on in files of the games, which I'm obviously unpacked for making thumbnails. It's not like there's spoilers. There's just sprites mostly and backgrounds, and there's not really a lot of to be spoiled, I believe. Um, I mean, after all, text it's main thing. Obviously, I don't read unpacked text. Actually, I'm not sure if it has here. Mm, mm, actually, not important. So yeah, I don't know if there is map of the city. I don't see it. Maybe there is some fan-made map. Mm, but I'm actually not sure if I should Google it. Mm, Only if I'm kinda interested to know more about the city. But I hope we gonna learn of it through the story. I mean, they obviously talk about city already quite a lot through these first streams, so they probably gonna continue, and it's good because I find it quite interesting. Anyway, let's continue. Um, okay, let's me read from the start. Also, this area seems to be a quite low income neighborhood and by standards of the six outer section, and it was full of homes on the verge of the collapsing, even here on the gravity weak moon. Even so, the many lights in the town made it easy to recognize that lots of people lived here. There. Sorry. For a town in the outer section, this one was relatively old. Apparently, it used to be more lively in the past. As it, as it was also night, there was almost nothing that related to liveliness. Actually, it looked like a scene out of some children's tale from long, long ago. This place wasn't a reality, but rather ruins from the real world overlapping with the glory of days past. Hmm. That's how the place looked to me. But every once in a while, someone would go out to the eaves of their home under the imitation stars projected on the dome and amuse themselves by drinking alcohol or by playing a game of chess or go. It may have been a poor area, but it seems incredibly safe. They say that it was an old town, which must have meant that its residents have stopped developing the area. Mm. Newton City had developed at a rate that threatened to surpass even the most advanced nations on Earth. So some of the people that have been attracted to it worked so hard. Sorry. So some of the people that have been attracted to it worked so hard that you could refresh the list of humanity's richest people and see it changes every day. Mm, interesting. To put it another way, the people who decided not to complete became comparatively poorer by the day. Getting poorer under capitalism meant that you're being forced that much further back in the big race. Not only that, I didn't want to become one of the masses. But if I failed, then I'd end up like those people. Hmm. Agana had finally stopped calling me smelly. I rearranged her position on my back, then asked myself a question sternly. Are we still not there yet? No matter how light they might be, people aren't the easiest things to carry on one's back. Especially when it's a girl you're carrying. You have to watch where you put your hands. Hearing my question, Lisa looked over her shoulder and nodded lightly. As I sighed, thinking that we still had more to go, Lisa's feet suddenly stopped. We're here. Okay, let's see. Hearing those words, I stopped my feet, I raised my head. I wonder what kind of rundown hut we arrived at. But, to my surprise, I was facing the impressive gate. Actually, wasn't this a bit too impressive of a gate? 2 meters? 3 meters? Wait, more importantly, wasn't this... As I stood so dumbfounded that I forget that Hagan was on my back, Lisa put a hand on the gate and slowly pushed it open. It didn't even seem to be locked. But considering what this place was, I couldn't understand. Standing in front of me was a building that I had only ever heard of before. Sheltering people is my hobby. Do you see why now? Hmm, interesting. She opened the double doors and walked in. Hmm. The next thing I knew, a bearded dude stuck on a cross was right in front of me. Oh, so I guess it's a church. Um, yeah. Welcome to the 6th Avenue Church. Lisa said this to me while I was still in shock. You're a Christist? Not Christist, Christian. I thought that was something they only did on Earth. This was supposed to be a place on the forefront of science and human advancement. Why was there a church here? Or could it be that people from Earth, this place far away in the sky, was supposed to be heaven? No, sorry. Or could it be that for people from Earth, this place far away in the sky was supposed to be heaven? Mm, I mean, I guess if life on Earth not really good, I guess moon can seems like heaven. I mean, do you know much about Earth? I feel we have few points when it seems like you're not really in good. Uh, I mean, living on Earth not really good right now, but I don't think we have like big explanation of it. Hmm. Anyway, as I looked at Lisa as if she were some exotic animal, she gave a slightly embarrassed grin and shook her head. Well, I suppose you would say that. But don't worry, I'm not going to try to convert you or anything. Ha! After a long silence, all I could manage was a puff of laughter through my nose. According to my faith, all I'm to do is let lost sheep rest for a short time. It's the same thing for that girl on your back. I had already forgotten I was carrying Hagana. Hey, we're here, so I'm going to let you down. Hurry up and let me down. I felt a flash of anger, but since I was holding onto both of your legs, I figured in the end it was a very natural thing to say. Doubt I was overwhelmed by temptation to just let her go, I bent my knees slowly and let her down, 1 foot of a time. Um, you can stand. Hmm. Agana was silent, but she seems to be amazed that she was standing. What a strange woman. So, what were we saying? Oh, so she's a runaway too. Right, same idea with Sirault. This place is a crossroad, and so according to the teachings, I have a bucket for washing feet, and a cup of hot water ready to give. Feet? Water? A metaphor as if to say, what is this woman I'm talking about? Little saw it instead of getting angry, she breathed a disappointed sigh. Yes, I guess it's some religious thing. I also don't really know about it. But do you happen to be born and breathe on the moon? Yes, but so what? After I asked this back at her, Lisa shook her head, disappointed. Was she making fun of me? Was that what it was? Hmm, interesting. Is it something what like everyone should know or something? Um, I mean, I could guess what it's different for different countries, but just I don't really think what Christianity big in Japan, so it's kind of strange. Maybe I'm wrong, not sure. Anyway, as I glared at her, Lisa looked towards the statue of the dude stuck on the cross, placed her hands together, and bowed her head. "O Lord, you have brought upon me a great trial." Then, as she said this, she made a strange gesture with her right hand in front of her body. As I wondered what she was doing, Lisa faced me and began to speak. "For now, why don't you take a bath? I'm not trying to be Hagana, but you are a little dirty." Being told this to my face was actually a bit embarrassing. Hmm. Well, I'm sorry. As I said this trying to hide my embarrassment, Hagana, who had been watching the situation quietly, picked up where Lisa left off. "In fact, you smell terrible." Okay. After that, I began to be especially conscious about my own body. That day, I realized what I was at a far more emotional and innocent age what I had thought. Hmm. I mean, it's kind of interesting. I was expecting there will be a new home for Haru, but this church have enough place. Like, it didn't seem too big. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, it was the first problem bath I had since running away from home, and I was on the verge of tears. Hmm. Did they don't have some, I don't know, public bath or something? Maybe just not a thing on the moon? Don't know. Hmm. Both my parents were immigrants from Japan, so soaking in the tub was pretty much a daily tradition. It would be the only luxury my parents enjoyed, if I had to think of any. You could find water circulating all over the lunar surface, but you definitely couldn't say water was inexpensive because of that. I mean, makes sense. I heard that the reason why we made water flow visibly everywhere was because water had a calming effect on the human soul. Even if that weren't true, I hear that all but a few places on Earth were short of water, and that half of international disputes stemmed from water resource issues. Hmm, interesting. So, this is again, they talk about there is some problems on Earth. Hmm, hmm. Perhaps the visible presence of water was to put some of the immigrants and anxieties to rest, since they believed that fights over water resources were an everyday occurrence to their coming from various regions on Earth. Hmm. However, what I was currently soaking in was apparently water siphoned off before final processing, and thus it was quite cheap. At the bottom of the tub, I could see pieces of aquatic plants used for water purification, like I'd seen waterways. It wasn't just water what was limited on the moon. Unlike turf, the moon didn't have vast quantities of various resources. Most of them were created from chemical processing of 19 lunar materials, or failing that, imported via the orbital elevator. That's why people said that the government organization in charge of managing the lunar surface had a terribly precise control over the flow of various materials through the city. I mean, makes sense. The most important, sorry, the most important of this, on this was water, and those were the amount of oxygen and hydrogen. Makes sense. Any amount of oxygen could be obtained by using the plentiful amount of solar radiation to break down silicon dioxide, sand. In our words, hydrogen, however, could only be obtained via hydrocarbons that only existed at the poles. Hydrogen is too light for the moon gravity to retain it, and thus naturally occurring hydrogen was quite rare. Carbon could be obtained by using the limitless electrical power here to break down solid carbon dioxide shipped in from the orbital elevator. Oxygen could also be obtained from this process, thus killing two birds with one stone. Nitrogen and the various minerals needed for the growth of plants and animals could only be obtained through chemical pellets transported in through the orbital elevator. I also now realize we seemed something like this when we played Doom 3. They also have some technology on Mars to uh, like get various resources, which obviously makes sense. Anyway, um, this basic knowledge was supposedly taught to all kids in the elementary school during sciences class. Unfortunately, I hadn't really applied myself in school. I thus had to learn it much later. That got me to learn about this was then I had first started seriously trading stocks and wanted to figure out who had the best slice of the pie when it came to the various systems on moon on the moon. I had naively thought that investing in that would guarantee smooth sailing, and that would be that. I had learned a lot while operating under that notion, and thus it wasn't all the rose-tinted stuff they teach you at school. Hmm. I remember signing enough at the systems revolving around rights tied to imported resources in lunar cities. The public parts were, of course, controlled by the government, but the most powerful on the civilian side had to be Emerald Industries, which held the civilian rights to the orbital elevator. Hmm. By the way, if you were wondering about why company was named after emeralds, it was because a long time ago people said that the moon's core was made of emerald. Did they? I actually don't. I believe I don't really hear about it. Interesting. It was originally a maintenance company, but since this was such a complicated piece of machinery, there weren't many qualified guys who could work on it. This was a textbook example of what would sorry This was a textbook example of what would happen if they were also quite crafty. The majority of the infrastructure on the moon was under the umbrella of Emerald Industries and its related subsidiary companies. During the time it took for me to come out of the bathroom, dry myself off, and put the obviously old t-shirt and pants, I must have interacted with products from 100 to 200 of Emerald Industries' various subsidiaries. This was this was a totally artificial city. So artificial it would put Las Vegas and Dubai to shame. I even thought those were lauded as cities with fountains in the desert. I hadn't seen either city with my own eyes, but I had seen footage of them. People on Earth sure were idiots. I thought candidly to myself. "Hmm, all freshened up?" Then I came out of the changing room. Lisa was lying back on the sofa. Hmm. There was a cup of water she poured for me on the table. The changing room connected straight into the living room. In it was a old and worn sofa set that she must have picked up from a dump somewhere, along with a coffee table and a carpet, whose corners must have been mended countless times. Hmm. Oh, yeah. There was no TV, but there was a computer. Also on the coffee table was a multifunction terminal that Lisa had been using just now. What had surprised me was the thick book next to it. It was a rare event to see real books on the moon. Their space and resources were limited. I had thought sorry, until relatively recently, that books were simply an application interface format. I didn't realize that things that resembled what was drawn on the screen actually exist. People who came from Earth made fun of people who grew up on the moon for thinking like that. Hmm. I mean, no, actually, thinking what it's kind of interesting what they have limited space, but they have places like they where they are right now with quite a small buildings. Hmm. Maybe it makes sense. Don't know. Anyway, however, from my point of view, people from Earth were the ones who had something messed up in their heads, since they still stuffed their ridiculously bulky books into places like libraries. Is it rare to see a real book? I came to when Lisa asked me a question. Once more, she had the multifunction terminal in her hand, was like reading a book again. Hmm. Well, even if I had snapped back saying that I don't know what I don't know, you're treating me like some naive idiot would piss me off. And to sum up my reply while putting on a poker face, but Lisa didn't make fun of me. Well, they totally take up space. They also get dirty easily, so you'd have to take good care of them. Furthermore, we couldn't really search for them, so the digital version is 100 times better. Honestly, I'm agree with this. Even without, well, actually I agree about everything here. Like I have, obviously I have real books, but I personally always find digital version much better. Um, for this, I actually myself stop buying like real books, mostly because I'm actually also don't really have space for it, and ebooks, digital books, you have just read on your phone, so it's much more convenient. But anyway, mm, also give me please 1 minute. I be right back. I am back, so let's continue. Mhm. I instantly realized she was doing this out of consideration for me. It was as if she were some kindergarten teacher who had a good idea of what would cause immigrants from Earth and would bring kids to get into a fight. Huh. And what is? I pointed at the thick but worn book on the table. There were some gold-colored alphabet-looking characters on the back cover, but I couldn't quite parse them. Yeah. B I B L. This to me was the most important book in the world, and thus I brought it with me from Earth. And thought I parted with Julie, who had been with me since the day I was born. Oh, she's my pet dog. By the way, even if I parted with Julie, I could not bear to leave that book back on Earth. Lisa laid the mobile terminal aside and carefully stroked the front cover of the tattered book. On seeing that, I flashed back to when I was a naive kid being patted on the head by my parents' hands, rugged from working outdoors. Hmm. Then did you come here from Europe? We got chased out of our place when I was 11. With that, my parents made the bold move to apply for lunar immigration. We didn't really have money, and those had to be applied through the commoners category, which have ridiculously odds. Well, my parents' professions were kind of special, and since then no system was still in effect, we managed to get placed into a preferential category. Hmm, interesting. What is no system? No, oh, I guess we will be, it will be explained to us. No system? Ah, it was how people referred to the system for the preservation of culturalism. Doubt, I guess you wouldn't know about it unless you were involved with it. Well, there was this story about Noah no, sorry, no hats. Yeah, but no, why I can't pronounce it? No, Noah's Ark. Okay. Well, there was some legend of oral tradition or teaching or whatever that talked about how when the world had turned to evil and was destroyed by a huge flood, good people and pairs of animals rode out the flood in a boat and then on to the creator virtuous world after the water receded. Something like that. My parents were both theological scholars. I guess they needed people of that odd profession as well. This was the first time I had heard the term theological scholar. Hmm, it's actually kind of interesting. I mean, uh, about what after I guess again used this thing um, about scholars and religion. I believe in Spice and Wolf and mostly in continuation, uh, which actually I don't remember what it is exactly called. Uh, Wolf and Parchment, probably not sure, but I believe there is one of characters also theological scholar or something like this. To be honest, for some reason I don't read sequel to Spice and Wolf, even if I really liked the first one. I probably should fix it and actually read it. I believe I actually don't read it because it wasn't really a lot of books. Then I heard it. I mean, it's literally was only one book, and I don't like read short stories, or I mean stories when there is just not enough. And for now, I believe there should be enough book for me to actually read. Anyway, let's continue. Lisa picked up the nearby terminal and showed me the dictionary entry. There were, they were apparently people who studied religious teachings. I was truly surprised that people who gave up their lives to such useless things were here on the moon. And thus, this book was like my soul to someone like me who had been raised in such household. There, there were many authors, depending on which chapter it was, but it was mostly written around 2000 years ago. It's actually the best-selling book on earth, you know? Oh, is it that interesting? This loud out loud when I started to show a bit of an interest in the book while looking at it. Haha. Well, no, sorry. Well, if you ask me whatever it was interesting or not, I'd say it was interesting. In its own way, but it isn't really that kind of a book. This is called the Bible. Remember the figure you saw in the church? This was the book written by disciples of the guy pinned up there. It's a book of religious teachings, so to speak. They, they estimate they over 1 billion copies had been sold. A billion copies? It's because it could be found everywhere on Earth. It was translated into the words spoken by people all over the Earth. So, in our words, everyone on Earth reads it. If only that were, if only that were the case. A question mark appeared on my face when I heard Lisa's reply. The Earth population is roughly 6 and 5 billion. Even an age where 7 hundred thousands of tourists could come to the moon, roughly a third of the people on Earth couldn't read, and two-thirds had no surrounding where they could sit down and read a book. Again. Mm, 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 sorry. Okay. Hmm. Yeah. Uh, sorry. I'm. It's maybe strange, but I'm trying to figure out 6.5 billion. It's how much? Mm, just because we don't use this word in Russian. Hmm. Okay, there is a little bit strange in English. Uh, yeah, I actually don't know exactly how much it is. Is it nine zeros or 12? Hmm. Because if it's nine, it is actually kind of strange. Because it's mean that there is less people on Earth now. Uh, I mean, what they say in game than actually where is people now. Hmm. Mm. Okay. Anyway, I mean, it's maybe less people because it's mm, worse condition on Earth. Mm, mm. I mean, yeah. Anyway, it's a little confusing for me, but let's continue. The remaining fortunate one third had tons of our forms of entertainment. Um, there were few people reading the Bible nowadays, even among Christians. And at the church I attended, there were few people who knew there were four books that comprised the Gospels, and even less people knew the names of the four authors. You probably don't understand how sad this fact is. Sorry, totally don't have a clue here. Well, that's alright. I've already got a heavy load doing. to having a carefully watch over this old church. Still knowledge passed on the people cross paths. Trivia used to refer to wisdom, and the word's original meaning was that of a two-way intersection where people would cross paths. It had I had wondered what would be the point of having all these lost people meeting at such an intersection. It was perhaps a sign that I realized I should be a shepherd, watching over sheep. Hmm. A shepherd? I've seen images of sheep being herded by sirens and electrical fences before while researching certain potential investment candidates. But how was this related to managers of whose factories? Oh. Seeing me totally drawing a blank, Lisa laughed it quickly and said, "Sorry, it's just a metaphor. I actually haven't seen a real shepherd either. I guess it wasn't just a matter of no noise stuff because I was born on the moon. I was at least a bit relieved by that. I'm pretty much that type of person. People would totally wonder why I came to the moon to do such a thing. Well, I do think that." Lisa chuckled at my frank statement. "Well, now let's talk about you, okay? Since she went to the trouble of saving me from the police, bringing me here since it looked like I had no place to go, and then letting me take a bath, my good character dictated that I answered her. I come from a settlement village on the outskirts of the eastern outer district. Oh, that's a great place with all greenery, right? Outsiders all say that. Isn't it just because we're all from the Stone Age? Haha. People who would come to the moon were all seated dwellers. Back then they were on Earth. They miss their greenery. Wait, sorry. Hmm. Oh. I was beginning to feel that I was being blanketed and confused by a high level of logic. Are the cities of Europe full of greenery then? Well, I guess the way I worded it was kind of bad. Hmm. Even on Earth, there wasn't that much greenery in the cities. For some reason, people were attracted to the natural outdoors from times long gone past. Perhaps, perhaps it's something ingrained in us. And you the same. I was about to refute her point, but decided against it. In either case, I ran away from a home over there. Hmm. Okay, I guess it's actually uh, Haru saying it just wrong name. Because otherwise I don't understand. Yeah, it's probably Haru saying. Um, um, yes, and this actually, please ask. Um, okay, your name? Is it okay to ask? Lisa asked me without showing any signs of trying to forcing me. Like I'd be able to get away with not answering that if I said no. It looks like some ty- type of bug. Because it's so wrong names. Who's talking? Hmm. Um, let me. I don't think it's gonna help. Let's try it anyway. Okay, so let's just don't match on the names what on top of the box because it's wrong. I mean, I don't really say it out loud, so it's I guess not really important. But yeah, it's don't wrong. Mm, anyway, so it's Lisa saying that's fine if you don't want to. And this is Haru. And then again Lisa. Okay. But it would be kind of inconvenient to call for you. So I'd like some sort of a name. The girl you carried on your back, she's called Hagana. It's not her real name. Huh? Well, it's not like she doesn't want to open up to me, but she's like a wild animal, in that she's very cautious about things. Hagana is originally a word from the language of the Wanderers. Well, actually, does anything come to mind? Then I use the term Wanderers. No idea. I guess it's to be expected. But I guess the Moonbraid, being free from Earth, had this kind of meaning. Hmm? Sorry, talking to myself again. It's my first time talking to a kid who was born and bred on the moon. Hmm. So I guess Hagana not from the moon. Okay. People born and bred on the moon, there's still probably not even a 10,000 or so. People working in Newton City said that it was due to the fact that many people weren't able to have children. Most of the people who came from Earth were 10 years old, and the youngest when they rode the orbital elevator. There was a huge difference in gravity between the Moon and the Earth, and those were issues with their bodies. Of course, to them, Earth was their birthplace, and the common sense they possessed came from there as well. Well, it's really is like trivia. The whole paths crossing and exchanging wisdom thing. Lisa smiled with satisfaction while muttering those words. If that girl clad in black Hagana would be considered strange, then Lisa must also be strange for helping and harboring me. Anyhow, I will, in this day and age, a link on the moon, she all into religion and cherishes her real books. To put it bluntly, I wondered if she was a social outcast. However, I had a sorry, favorable impression of Lisa, even though she didn't seem to take part in the competitions that raged on, in this competitive city. It was true, she wasn't pushing ahead, but it didn't feel like she was falling back either. Even in this low gravity environment, Lisa appeared to have her feet planted firmly on the ground. She looked to me as if she enjoyed just living her life. I was a bit moved seeing that people like that actually exist. I had thought that there were three types of people on the moon. The Rauten crew from my village, who were refined only in speech, the decadent people from the other section, who couldn't be helped, and the residents of the Newton City, who took advantage of the low gravity to jump up to lofty heights. There was my thoughts as I looked at Lisa, who was smiling happily to herself. It feels like she could at least trusted. Sorry. It feels like she could at least be trusted. Yoshiharu. Huh? Kawaura Yoshiharu. Oh, your name? It's my real name. So if you report me, they quickly notify my parents. After my blunt answer, Lisa looked at me for a moment. Then a smile spread over her face. I see. I got it. Well then, How about just Hal? Hal? Hmm. Even if I called you by just your first name, wouldn't it really narrow down who you are? It would be obvious you were the kid of Japanese immigrants. If it were just Hal, then that wouldn't be an issue. Ah, I guess it translated things, Hal and Haru, because I called him Haru before, uh, because I believe I've seen it somewhere. I mean, it's also has sense since his full name is Haru, but okay, let's start uh, calling him Hal from now. Hmm. I mean, it's kind of funny, but it's also from same author who create uh, who writes Space and Wolf, because I don't know about English like fans, but at least in for Russian ones there was big debate should Horo be called Horo or Holo, like L or R. I mean, I guess it should be same in English. Hmm. Because it's, yeah, I believe it should came in Russian from English, because I mean, firstly, fun adaptation of Spice and Wolf. I mean, not adaptation, fun translation of Spice and Wolf. It was horror, and then with official one, it became a hollow, and it seems like a lot of people was unhappy with this science. I mean, they kind of just get used to horror. Anyway, like I'm personally honestly just really don't care. Uh, guess it just probably because half of the time I can't remember the characters' names at all. I don't know. Anyway, so let's just call him Hal from now. From now. Uh, okay. Yeah, read this. Of course, there wasn't really any rewards for tuning someone in, but the fact that someone didn't do it from the get-go was also a bit creepy. Hmm. This was a good thing for me, but suspicion had become a daily thing with my 3 months of wandering around. Lisa noticed the look of suspicions on my face and said, "Hehe, well, if this were Earth, I could just say, the Lord's will be done, and smile, and everyone would accept it." Totally have no clue what you're talking about. Well, that's true. This is the moon, after all. Hmm. I thought sometimes I start getting the urge to put one of those on. That was the what she said, and I wondered what she meant. Though from her expression, she probably just dodged the question if I asked her. However, it pains me that it's Hagala who'd fit better in them. Looks like my hair color's too light. Hmm, I actually don't understand what she's talking about. Anyway, Lisa talked to herself while brushing her hair with her fingers. It wasn't on Hagan level, but I thought she had beautiful straight hair. Back in the village, everyone placed a blonde woman on a pedestal, but I kind of liked girls with deeper colored hair. To put it bluntly, like someone who's in front of me right now. Speaking of which, I wonder what the girl's doing now. It's almost time to sleep, but perhaps she wasn't planning on taking a bath. Hmm. Interesting. She actually don't question the main character a lot. I mean, probably she don't really expect him to answer, which probably makes sense. Hmm. And right after she said that, I heard a door open on the other side of the hall, leading to the living room, and footsteps afterwards, as if that servant was waiting just for the moment when Lisa was about to get up from the sofa. Supposedly, there were only Lisa and Hagana here, so logically it must have been Hagana. So there was no reason to be surprised. But I did get a shock when I spotted Hagana coming in from the dark hallway. Okay. Hey, Hagana. Lisa got up hurriedly from the sofa. The Hagana in question squinted her eyes, wearing a surprised, puzzled expression. Her hands were ridiculously neatly folded pajamas and what looked like a change of underwear. But that got us all flustered was her appearance. She was wearing short shorts that revealed her slender long legs all the way up to her hips, and a sleeveless short through which you could almost see her chest. Haven't I told you many times never to wander around in something like that? Hmm? Isn't it fine since it's not showing? She replied, surprised at how angry Lisa was, and went quickly into the changing room. It looked like Lisa couldn't figure out what to say, and simply growled in the front of the changing room door. As for me, to my great distress, I averted my eyes and thought, "Your panties are white." Okay. That was oddly childlike compared to the color of her clothing and her ridiculous cheekiness. Well, it wasn't bad, but seeing that kind of underwear beneath her totally black stockings would kind of be a letdown, I thought to myself. I then noticed Lisa glaring at me, arrested from you sorry, arrested from your memory. I couldn't just brush it off by laughing at her ridiculously serious face because of her scary glare. I nodded twice obediently. Sheesh, because she is so hard-headed. Lisa sighed and shook her head. I thought it looked like she had all powers here. Sorry, all the power here. She had no way to controlling Hagana's thought. It really did seem like Lisa's hobby was to shelter runaways. That was fine, but I felt inclined to show her respect for her words. It was a strange thing. You try to show at least a little shame, too, okay? It was the first time I'd ever heard that in my life, but I nodded. I possessed manner that would lead people to think I seriously wanted to distance myself from the crowd culture of my hot village, where people who couldn't get naked in front of people of the same gender were considered cowardly. However, Lisa waited for my nod and added an additional line. I'm looking forward to your manners the next time we eat. Ah, that's a cheap move. I mentally yelled at Lisa. I guess in the end, this lady was the type to take you by surprise if you let your guard down. Lisa was lightly uh, laughing merrily as she returned to the sofa and started playing with her malfunctional terminal. I had already taken a bath, but I wasn't quite sleepy yet, so I sat on the floor at once and opened my PC. A bit afterwards, there was a quarrel between Hagana and Lisa. Hagana figured that since we were facing the our way, And engrossed in that we were doing, she couldn't just walk back in her room with only a towel on her shoulder, whereas Lisa tried to push her back into changing room. Lisa was frantic, saying that this had been a place with better manners before, but I thought perhaps it was a warmer place before because it was just two females living together. I felt that I come across a great place. Mm. And thought we hadn't separate rooms. Oh, sorry. And thought we had separate rooms where we were well cleaned. If helping people out like that was a hobby, then this unhealthy interest in this church thing and this crucified man was probably also not that bad. Morning. The first thing I did was confirm that I could survive another day. Mm, okay, I think we stop here. I was kind of hoping to actually see his room and to make sure that, uh, I mean, it just was interesting. But yeah, I guess he find a new home for him. Um, I mean, it's probably makes sense what we don't see like room shopping. This game don't really have a lot of background images. I mean, it's kind of honestly surprising for me. I was thinking since it's from afterwards, Spice and Wolf, it would have more budget. Hmm. But anyway, it's not bad. It's still interesting story. But yeah, let's stop for now. Um, so we continue next time. It will be on next week. But for today, it's all. So bye bye. Have a nice time of the day.